It's starting to seem like budget graphics cards under $200 are becoming less and less required. With the new Ryzen AI APU able to provide graphics that are similar to an RTX 4060 without any kind of dedicated graphics card, the writing is certainly on the wall for cheap but still powerful GPUs. But that APU is very expensive and only available on laptops and mini PCs, so we're going to need to wait a while until it starts to trickle down to us peasants. Until then, there aren't many options in the new market that are really worth the price to performance. But looking elsewhere, we have the AMD Radeon RX 5700 XT. This was a mid-range GPU released in 2019 that was kind of an instant hit, but has seen even more popularity over the years due to its high performance compared to its low purchase price. Let's go over why I think this card is the modern GOAT, but first, you're gonna have to buy one, and I recommend grabbing it from the sponsor of this video, AliExpress. AliExpress is a fantastic online marketplace to get tons of PC hardware for very competitive pricing. From SSDs to PC cases, and even graphics cards, there's a lot of awesome hardware for just about any budget, but especially in the super cheap categories. The RX 5700 XT featured in this video can be found for some really competitive pricing, especially if you use the discount codes provided in the video description. No having to constantly stock used marketplaces, no having to drive 2 hours to save $5, just easy and quick hardware delivery straight to your door. And if anything goes wrong, AliExpress offers a 90-day free return window, so you have tons of time to stress test any and all products you grab without having to worry about it. So if you want to pick a GPU up, AliExpress is holding its anniversary sale from March 17th to March 26th, offering up to 80% off site-wide. And you can use the codes in the video description to get a nice little discount. And thanks again to AliExpress for sponsoring this video. This card was officially released on July 7th, 2019, and was built on the 7nm process. Has 8 gigs of VRAM and a 256-bit memory bus. Now that's all well and good, but what about the price performance of this card? Well, after looking at multiple sources from the used market, online, AliExpress, etc., I found that the average price of this card to be about $150 US. Might be more or less in whatever country you're in, but this is about the average I was finding. Now when comparing the price to other cards, the best new one would be an RTX 3050 at around $190, which actually performs worse than the 5700 XT. Or there's also the RX 6600 for $200, which has performance slightly below or on par with the 5700 XT, but it makes up for it for having a lower power draw. The RX 6600 used is about the same price as the 5700 XT, but it seems to be much harder to find. I've said on many occasions that I think this card is the new GOAT for budget gaming. Not only does it have amazing performance in 1080p, it also is a great entry-level 1440p card. So while you may not be getting 300 FPS at 1440p, you can certainly play all your favorite shooters at high frame rates at 1080, and then when it's time to kick back in a single player experience, you can boost it to 1440p and enjoy some beautiful visuals. And we also have FSR to rely on in case we need a little bit more help. Now when pairing a CPU with the 5700 XT, you don't need to go for anything crazy. Mid-range CPUs like the Ryzen 5 3600 or Intel 12400 are more than enough. And if you wanted to go with AM5, you could grab a Ryzen 5 7500F. All great options for this GPU. I wanted to run this GPU through a bunch of your favorite games and give my personal thoughts. Now usually when testing graphics cards, reviewers like to use the most powerful CPU they can find to remove any kind of bottleneck. But this is more of a real life situation video, so I'm actually going to test it with an Intel i5 12400, which is a great mid-range CPU that should have no issues pushing this card. Now I feel like starting this off with Cyberpunk 2077. This game released in 2020 to a shaky start, but has quickly become a great looking game with a ton of graphical settings and features. Running the canned benchmark at 1080p with all the settings to high and ray tracing off, we are getting an average of 79 FPS with a 1% low of 65. Pretty stellar performance, and the game looks gorgeous. If you wanted to increase the resolution to 1440p but turn back the graphical settings just a bit to medium, you can expect an average of 60 FPS with 1% lows of 48. So still a totally playable experience even at 1440p, but when the game dips below 60 you might feel it a bit. So you can do what I would do, stick with the medium 1440p settings, but turn on FSR 3. Then you'll average 89 FPS with 1% lows of 75. And frankly, I can't see a difference most of the time using FSR at these settings, so it might be the perfect way to enjoy this game at high resolutions. F1 2024 is a newer game added to my bench suite, but I really like it because it represents a lot of racing games where the backgrounds don't move much, but there's a lot of fast motion in the foreground. And the game just looks gorgeous, so there's a lot to love there. There are a ton of settings available like ray tracing or AI upscaling, but I just went with 1080p and all the bars set to high. And we averaged 136 FPS with a 1% low of 112. Really stable frame rate and an overall fantastic performance. Of course, if you want to experience even more, you can crank it to 1440p with the same settings and still average 117 FPS. I guess this game is just really stable and surprisingly well optimized. The Finals is a newer esports game that is surprisingly difficult to run. With built-in ray tracing effects and a crap ton of particles effects on screen at all times, this game pushes any GPU to its max. So I started the game on 1440p with all settings to medium and lighting set to static, and we were still able to average 81 FPS with a respectable 1% low of 65. And if it were me, this is probably how I'd play it, but if you want more detailed textures at a lower resolution, you can set everything to epic at 1080p and still average 82 FPS. The game does have support for FSR, so if you want more frames, you can always use that, or if you are a sweat lord, you can turn off all the settings to low at 1080p and get some really insane frame rates that way. Grand Theft Auto 5 is about to get an enhanced edition with updated technical specs like higher frame rates and resolution support, but this was recorded before that came out, and I'm glad because I wanted to see how this card holds up still compared to older games like GTA 5, and it's exactly what you expected. The engine on GTA 5 is so outdated it has a lot of hard caps and limitations to hold up even the beefiest of cards. At 1080p very high, we averaged 193 FPS with a 1% low of 132, and if you switch it to 1440p under the same settings, you're going to get basically the same results. This GPU can basically max out GTA 5 Legacy under most circumstances, but I'm excited to see how it performs in the new enhanced edition. Hitman is slightly older at this point, but it's honestly a great looking game with a fantastic engine. Using the built-in benchmark tool with everything set to high with HDR off, we average 170 FPS throughout the entire run, and a 1% low of 116. I don't think anyone needs 170 FPS playing a slow-paced game like Hitman, so I suggest turning up the resolution to 1440p, and on that resolution with everything still set to high, we averaged 118 FPS. This is probably going to be the best way to enjoy this game as the visuals are just amazing, but if you don't mind going a bit lower for the FPS, you can even crank it to Ultra and still have a great playable experience. Back to esports, let's check out Fortnite. This game is poorly optimized, extremely CPU intensive, and has heavily favored Nvidia cards in the past, so I'm not expecting a stellar performance. On the DirectX 12 preset at 1080p with all the settings to high, I was able to average 160 FPS with a 1% low of 117. This is a surprisingly good turnoff for this game, as I thought the 1% lows would be even lower, but our CPU is hanging in there. If you want to crank it to 1440p with all the settings to medium, you will actually get 175 FPS, but the 1% lows drop to 90. So this is one of those games where you really just have to mess with the settings to get the exact experience you want, as some people just want the max amount of frames they can get, and some people actually want the game to look good. Horizon Zero Dawn is a great looking PC game from Sony that has a pretty stable built-in benchmarking tool. It's a few years old at this point and even has a sequel out that has better graphics, but I like using this game as a comparison for games that are from that same time frame. Using the benchmark at 1080p and all the settings to high, we still averaged 114 FPS and 1% lows of 70. But this is a single player experience, so it's best to play at a higher resolution. So if we turn it to 1440p and set everything to medium, we still get 94 FPS average with 1% lows of 61. This is totally playable to me, and would probably be how I played it, but you can always use FSR to get even more frame rates if this isn't enough for you. Let's move on to Red Dead Redemption 2, and during its great benchmark that we all know and love, I went 1080p and set everything to high, with FSR turned off of course, and averaged 121 FPS with 1% lows of 73. This would be a really great experience for this, but like I said before, I personally prefer high resolutions with single player experiences, so at 1440p at medium settings, we were still able to get 110 FPS with lows of 74. This is still much higher than I expected, so I would probably crank the settings to high or even ultra at 1440p and just let it ride. Still, it's pretty impressive that a card that costs only $150 can play this game at such a high frame rate and even at 1440p. We can round out the benchmarks with Resident Evil 4 Remake. The settings on this game are kind of all over the place and not very straightforward, so I just set the textures to high and everything else to high that allowed it. And even with that, at 1080p, we still were able to get 108 FPS with 1% lows of 80. Really crazy results considering a game that looks this good. And if you want to kick it up a notch, go to 1440p with the same settings, you'll get 74 FPS average with lows of 60. The perfect ratio for a fantastic experience playing this single player game. It just looks awesome on this GPU. So while the 5700 XT might not be a 4K card, and it won't play every single game in existence at 1440p high frame rates, I still think for the price to performance, this card is absolutely king. It's a shame that we have to resort to buying old cards just to get a PC that doesn't cost an arm and a leg, but I'm glad it exists for people who can't afford the new stuff, but still want to have an awesome PC. Let me know in the comments below what GPU you want tested next and what games to add to our list. And thanks to the channel members for helping me afford all the GPUs for testing. My name is Jason. Thanks for watching.